Happy Wax Plant Wednesday, everyone. Oh, I got the fungus out. Yes! Can I just say, these Hoya videos, they are my favorite to film. I feel the most relaxed filming these videos, so I want to thank everyone for coming back every week. There's a lot to do, but I haven't really looked at anything, so I'm gonna do the same thing where I go around, see what's happening. Sadly, there are no Hoyas in bloom. I guess I'll show you the Hoya Bella because she's, I think, the closest to blooming. And this is going to be the first time that I also put a new batch of sachets. These are the Cucumeris Beneficials. This one's the closest. Honestly, the Bella, it really just blooms so much. This is the second one, so close. So if y'all want a Hoya that blooms a lot, definitely think about getting the Bella. I'm just seeing if this is dry. It's dry. I feel like everyone's dry even though it's cold. I just haven't looked at a lot of these plants. I know I say that every time, but for realsies, I haven't looked at specific Hoyas in like a week and a half. Okay, there are a bunch of planters that I want to look at just because. Do you know what? We're going to look at the propagations, like all the propagations that I put into pond, because I think I only looked at them once. I just need to make sure the water level's okay, so I guess I'll start with the Polyneura outer variegated. We're gonna take a look together. I think at this point, it's been like 2-3 weeks maybe. So we'll take a look, we'll take a feel together. I've had to do like the majority of stuff in the kitchen just because every time I do plant chores in here, it's a lot of bending while I'm doing something, not using the right like body mechanics. And so I think I'm just gonna bring everything to the kitchen just so everything's kind of like leveled. Okay, let's take a look at the Michele props. Okay, I'm not gonna feel them now, but remember there were two that were like not doing their thing. Okay, and this one like I don't look at all. It's the Hoya Carnosa Grey Ghost. The props, it's definitely because they're at the very back. These ones, so pretty. Ooh, I already love how this looks. Come on. That is so stunning. Pond is dropping. Oh, yeah, it's so pretty. It's a silver. The silver everywhere. The dustiness of the silver. It feels to me very wintry. Okay, and then the last one is the props of the Kaimuki. Almost had an aneurysm chopping these. It was a lot. I had to lie down after that. So we'll look at these four to start with. Also, quick update on the Insularis. So they're not gonna make it, y'all. They're not rooted. This is the first time looking at or taking these out since the last video. Yeah, there's like absolutely nothing. And then they already dropped a leaf and you can see that it's yellow. So we tried, but unfortunately these things happen. Okay, ooh, my Christmas tree's up. I don't know when that video is coming out, so I'm not gonna like focus on it. I'm just gonna walk this way. Okay, so starting off with the Polyneura, I put a date. It says October 17th, I think. So, so it's I think it's the 3-week mark at this point. I'm gonna say this now. I'm almost 100% confident that they're all rooted, and it's just based on my sense of touch. If it's a 3-week mark and they're all hydrated and they're not wrinkly, that means they're all rooted. And while I was bringing it out here, I was feeling them. And another thing, there are some points. Let me just show this first. There are already new leaves. Oh my gosh, this one's crashing. Let me help. Right over there. Do you see that new vine? So, I mean, looking over here, there's already a few, but I did kind of want to pull one out to show you what the rootage is like at this stage. I'm trying to find one that doesn't have a new growth. It kind of seems like they all have something new somewhere. So I think it was this one over here. So this one has these two leaves. I'm gonna try to pull it out gently because fantastic, look at that. It's exactly what I expected. And again, do you see like the water staining here? Like you can tell that I did keep the water level that high. especially when she was new and didn't have roots. And do you see, if the water level or if the substrate wasn't wet at the top here, those roots at the top wouldn't have grown. Like, what if I only kept the substrate wet until here? Do you see how, I mean, she did manage a little bit, but do you see how like the most like activation in the roots is up here? That is just stunning, fantastic. Wow, this is just beautiful. Do you know what? I don't think I'm gonna put it back in. I think there's enough in this planter. Maybe I'll just put it in a cup and maybe gift it to someone. So it's been 3 weeks since I chopped it up and put it into this container of pond for all of these, and I am pleased. I remember with my Broguette a while ago, when I first got it, when I first chopped it up and put it into pond, it was very wrinkly, and that's why when I felt these and they were fine, like feeling wise, I was almost 100% sure that they were rooted, especially seeing that all of these, like maybe 90% of these have the startings of a new plant. And again, this was only because I was giving it the right conditions. So these are right under the grow light, and this goes the same with all of them, like right here. And I think it's funny because you can't see any bleaching, even though it's been under that grow light for three weeks, like right under, like they're really close. And I think it was important for this one just because the leaves aren't facing up, so like the solar panel was kind of like this way. Maybe that's why they're not bleached. Okay, it makes sense, Kevin. I'm going fine. I'm just gonna use that cup that the Insularis was in. Just to pop it in. I watched Fern's video. I think it was from Plant Haven Toronto, her unboxing, and she got one. Whew, I'm so excited for her. Like, it is such, I mean, y'all have seen mine. Like, it is such, there's a feather on this. It's just such a gorgeous plant. And it's gonna look so good in her collection, can I just say. Oh my God, this feather's like stuck on me. So we have this. I'll just wait for another vine. But she is just so adorable. Remember when these were so expensive? Some of these were like 1,000 to like 2,000 Canadian dollars at one point in time. Now understanding how this plant grows, like that was a super inflated price. Just knowing how fast they grow, price was bound to go down. And now, like, I mean, at least here in like North America, like $50 to $100, 50 to 150, I don't know. How much is this plant going for in other countries? I'm very curious. I know, like, if there's any people from Australia, can y'all let me know? Because I know it's hard. Like, Australia is one of the hardest countries to like get, I mean, this is what I've heard, is a Polyneura out of Variegated, or even like the silver or Broguette, like, is that one is available? Is it expensive? I forgot to mention, I just put her back under the grow light, but the thing that is like most important is obviously all these are well rooted. All of them have pushed out growth. And you just kind of have to look for that when it comes to dictating like whether you remove it from the grow light. I'm still gonna put it back where it was, just because it's like the starting of a tendril, the starting of a vine. It hasn't like pushed out sets of leaves yet. So until that happens, I'll move her a little bit away from the grow light, especially with the Polyneura. And I've heard from other people, even though I don't necessarily see this issue a lot with mine, there's a lot of burning with it. Like, it doesn't necessarily need a ton of light. Obviously, my preference is to still grow it under high light. Also, the second thing is how high to put the water level. I didn't show you, it's still pretty high, but it's not to the very top. It's probably like halfway up. This is not it, but the water level is probably up here to this point. Whereas before, when I was trying to root them, it was all the way up here, especially pulling one out and seeing those roots. And knowing how tall the stem is of the Polyneura, it's probably up here, and having the water level like that is enough. There's going to come a point where if you keep filling it that high and it already has a big root system, the roots aren't going to be able to breathe, and then eventually they'll die off. So just like sticking to your assessments, like feeling the leaves, looking at roots when you can, looking if there's new foliage, all of that will like help, and that will essentially determine like how high to put the water, and also like lighting. Feeding, I haven't fed them. I usually wait till there's more growth. Foliage wise, it doesn't need it right now, and so I would wait a little bit longer before I do a lightly diluted nutrient solution. Also at that point, I'm predicting it's going to be at the 2-month mark since I chopped it. Okay, I want to look at the gray ghost because she's just so pretty. I think these two vines are new, like this one. over here. And this one, I'm not sure though. See how cute? Okay, so for this one, and like with all the other ones that I'm going to show you after this, like they do have thicker leaves, so sometimes you might be deceived with how good they feel. Just because they do retain, like in the foliage, they do retain water longer. And in my experience, even though I've propagated some of these plants in the past and have left them for a week, if they have a big succulent leaf, they still feel okay. So I think it's been quite a while actually that since I propagated these. Is it 2 months? Future Kevin, please correct me because I have no idea. I, in the past, have always found that the gray ghost and even the Nova ghost, they'll root fine. They really will. It's the question of when they will start pushing out foliage and when they'll start pushing out like tendrils and foliage at a rapid rate. So, I mean, feeling the leaves, I know for a fact that all of these are rooted. I don't know if I want to take one out because I just don't want to disturb the root system. More than anything, I feel like these like to hug and essentially feel root bound in where they are, feel secure before they push out new growth. It's a good thing seeing like these vines here. And water level, I seriously ignore it. Again, I haven't experimented with the gray ghost and growing it in pond because if y'all remember, I propagated these in perlite. I'm just realizing this is the Nova ghost, it's not the gray ghost. Anyhow, I haven't grown this one in, guys, I'm seriously brain farting. Is it a gray ghost or a Nova ghost? I'll figure it out. I think I put the mothers, yeah, I put the mothers. So the ones that had, okay, I put the ones that had roots already and I put the cuttings. Wow, my memory's so bad. But like I said, this one, and I think in my Hoya collection video, I totally forgot about this one, didn't I? Anyhow, I forgot what I was saying. I can see like a new growth over here. Let's just end it on a positive note. You see that? It's starting. Okay, let's move on to the Michele. So now we're at a stage, because the last time I checked on these, it might have been a week ago, but I remember there were 2 leaves that felt floppy. And I know it was in this path. I just don't remember which one. So there are 3 leaves in this path and they feel good. They really do. A lot better than what it was before. So I think there were tiny, tiny roots the last time I checked at the 1 week mark. I do wanna see, I might go with this one. I might pull this one out just because, remember I talked about the, is there a term called edema where the cells burst in the leaf when there's like overhydration or when the roots are sitting in the reservoir? I said before that usually when I see that with this plant or any type of succulent leaf, like I've seen it with my Glaber schlechter as well, the leaves will have these like black spots. This is kind of the only one that doesn't really have much. So like, should I just pull it out? See, and that's another good sign. First of all the leaves feel hydrated. When I tug gently, it's not coming out. So I think it is rooted. Yeah, I'm like pulling harder, it's not coming out. Okay, maybe if I like dig. Okay, there's roots. I don't want to remove it. I'm just gonna remove the pon and hopefully there's enough light, but you see how there's this root? Do you see that root? Right over there. There's more on the other side. And like, I mean, y'all saw, like I'm pulling it now and like the other root's going that way. Okay, I don't want to disturb it. So do you know what? We're good. Oh, I put a date. Okay, so it's been 3 weeks now. So at this point, the water level is still high. So about halfway up the planter here. And so again, knowing how long the stems are, that is high enough. And so I don't need to refill it. That is wonderful. Because remember, there were 2 floppy ones the last time I showed this one. And I only pulled one out. And I said in the video not to worry because even though it has small root growth, it's not enough to sustain like early uptake of water. It's not like rapid enough for the leaf to feel hydrated because the root system's so small. And feeling all these leaves and knowing that they feel essentially at the same hydration rate, hydration level, I know they're all rooted. So so far they all survived. Keeping the water level high, because I know, and this goes with LECA, this goes with obviously pon and other substrates. Pon does wick up moisture from the reservoir. I find, and this goes with LECA as well, when the planter is tall, it doesn't wick it up fast enough. Obviously gravity is working against you, but also evaporation. Like, depending how hot you have your room, like how sunny, like the rate of water loss just from that can dry out the top bit of the planter. And so for these ones, it's not terrible. I find when I have to use the big black ones I use for my Anthuriums, and I think I don't use those for propagating because of that fear alone. Also, feel the top of the pond, it's wet. We're all good. Again, I said the water level's at the halfway mark here, and just knowing that a lot of the stems, the bottom part of the stem is over there, so we're good. I am very happy. Okay. Just because, okay, and also I need to look at my Michele. I have like 3 now. I want to show the Michele that started pushing like block splash. Is that the term? Okay, this one. Do you see how there's more splash than the ones I showed you? And that's the reason why I propagated that plant. I'm just trying to move this one to the front. So there's some there, heading that way. There's some there. Look at this. This is incredible. Again, I think there's 3 in here. Look at that. Wow. So they started as number 1, number 2 there, and then this one had the most splash right over there. And she's just growing up this trellis here. There's a new leaf, and I think it is gonna be splashy. But yeah, this is an example. Do you see how this pond is a lot lighter? So I know, I don't even need an indicator. The indicator says it's like not full at all, but do you see how dry that is? It's different when a plant is already established and rooted. That's when you can get away with this. It's obviously not recommended because you're not supposed to ever dry out your substrates completely. The roots need to be moist pretty much at all times. Okay, let's look at the reservoir. See, it's dry. You can see roots over there. Fantastic. It's like dry except for that patch. So definitely need to water. See, now I'm scared that it's gonna we're gonna get more bursting in those areas, but we're just gonna fill it with some water. I really need to find a new home because this leaf right now is kind of getting too close to the grow light. And it was fine before because there wasn't any leaves there, so I was kind of just like managing with that. But now, with all of these beauties that have some degree of just block-like splash or bigger splash, I'm just so excited. And okay, I did want to look at my Latifolia Snow Queen. So this one's living in LECA. It has, do you know what? It only has 1 plant. It just pushed out 2 main growth points. I mean, I think it had 3, but I eliminated it because it was too green. I think I was talking about how I was gonna wait to see if this vine was splashy, and although there's like some on this side, for me that's not really enough, especially looking at the previous leaf over here, just fully green. The leaf prior to that has this leaf over here, and then the ones before down here. I'm thinking that I'm gonna chop it just above this leaf because she has some splash. The reason I'm doing this is because I finally see a branch. Oh, did I damage it? I damaged it somehow. Do you see that sap? How did I damage it? Wow. Okay, should I wait now? I think I'm gonna cut it. I'm just gonna show, after this I'll show you the more mature one that's in LECA that has a lot more splash. I think I'm gonna cut this one. I feel bad also because this leaf is not even like hardened off yet. No, we're just gonna go for it and not think about it. Yes, okay. So hopefully I didn't damage that growth point too much. Yeah, again, there are 2 vines. This is the second one. You can see that she has a pair of splashy leaves and then a tendril and a new leaf there. So in the event that any of these push out green, I am gonna continue to chop it. Roots have been sitting in the reservoir and they look outstanding. I don't know why my hand's there, but they look outstanding. I was gonna get rid of it. I'm probably just gonna keep this because first of all, she's gorgeous. And remember I kept all those green ones, and they're actually like so pretty. And so I'm glad I didn't get rid of those a year ago, but there is a little bit of splash on the edge. So there is a chance that she might push out a splashy node. I am gonna get rid of this lower leaf just because she's not mature. And I kind of wanted to cut these tendrils, but I'll see if they dry up. I'm not gonna touch them actually. There's 2 tendrils, so we'll see. Just gorgeous. Look at that splash. It is so pretty. Oh, I should have actually stem in first. Now, I know I talked about knowing where the stem starts. I've had situations where I've had to put the stem at the very bottom and I've had to fill the reservoir a lot. I know people are often afraid of rot, but the rate of rot when this happens, like right after you chop it, is low in my experience, especially if you're using pon. There's something, oh my gosh, I'm just dropping everything. Okay, the last snow queen that I have. One vine is doing the most, and I am so impressed with it. Oh my gosh, it's just consistent. Large sections of splash. Just continuing. Like, look, it's just continuous. And because I introduced a trellis early on, it's pushing out a lot of leaves, and obviously I'm giving it a lot of light as well. Other vine here is doing a weird thing where it's not, I mean, it's given me this leaf, and then it didn't give any splash at all, and then you get some, and then nothing. And I think it's interesting because all of a sudden this plant started pushing out these small juvenile leaves here. And you can see the majority of them aren't splashed, but this one at the top is. But like I was saying, it's funny because they're not hardened off. So like this plant was actually just working on these 4 at the same time. And so that's the reason why they're small. There's also other leaves, like there's more there. Going down this way, there's more there. And so in my head, I'm like, calm down, just focus on 1 leaf at a time. But yeah, it's just so fascinating. Again, they are in LECA, so I am feeding them every 2 to 3 weeks, like with a new nutrient solution. So the last time I changed that was maybe a week and a half ago. And I guess because I'm showing all of them, this is the one that wasn't splashy over here. One of, like, it's so crazy to me how I was gonna get rid of this because like the leaves were like small when I cut them off the mother of the Snow Queen, and then now like she's on pond, so I don't know if I overfed it and like totally forgot. She is getting a little tall, so these leaves are touching the grow light, and you can see that they are bleached a little bit. I mean, this could also be because they're new, but there really is a ton at the top here of leaves, and I think it's because it has enough light. Obviously this one has been rooting for quite a while. I think I propagated this plant like a year ago, so there's a year's worth of root growth on this mother. So there's a ton of just new baby leaves. Obviously you can see the tendrils also. This one's branching and becoming like a V. There's 1 leaf under here that's already damaged. I think I might cut that off. Remember last week's video, I was like, first, before you think of bending a tendril, you gotta, just with the light force, just feel how hard it is to bend, because you never want to force it down because that's when you'll have breakage in the tendril. So feeling this, I think I can do it. And sometimes here's an example of what I'm saying. Sometimes this is okay, like if it's just a little bit, but do you see the part where I bent? There's like sap. Do you see that? So I'm still gonna keep it that way. We'll see what happens. In any case, she's still gonna push out new growth from somewhere in the stem if, you know, it's not happy with this bend. And then the second one, I'm just clipping it like that. Okay. Now watering, I've done a bad job, I'm gonna be honest with this one, just because she's like at the very back corner of all these Hoyas. Oh, see, and this is what happens. Oh, I'm sorry. You dry it completely, the root sticks to the bottom, and when you take it out of the planter, it breaks. Okay, let's remove that root because that's done. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of water. Feeling around the pot, it was still moist, like there was still like condensation around, and so I'm not too worried. Obviously we can't see what's in the pon, but knowing how well pon holds on to moisture, and also feeling and looking at the foliage, like, you know that it's not completely dry on the inside. If it was completely dry, like when I tip it this way, the pon would roll away, foliage would look really wrinkly, and yeah, so that's her. I am so in love with her. Okay, I do want to talk about Miss Gunningatting. I am so hopeful that this is gonna bloom. So hopeful. I just know that that's not always the case, no matter how close a peduncle looks. So here she is. So this was, I guess this was like the mother that I took all the props from. Just such a stunning Hoya. You can see the sun stressing at the top because the grow light is right there. And then I want to show y'all, I want to share this. Look at that. So I'm really hopeful that she blooms. It'd be the first time, for some reason, she's taking off. Like, do you see this leaf? I'm trying not to. I don't want to damage it, but this is brand new. There's more down there. So many baby leaves. I am finding, yeah, roots are good. I am finding that, now, did I change? It looks like water. Did I change the nutrient solution for this? I still have a week old nutrient solution, maybe. Oh, I just poured it and I saw that it wasn't clear. Like it was more nutrient solution color. Anyhow, I have a week old. I guess it's coming on 2-week old nutrient solution, so maybe I'll just do that. Wouldn't that be wonderful if this bloomed? Like, I think it'd be so wonderful. I'm just clipping the tendrils. I would be so happy if that started blooming. I'd be so happy, oh my gosh. I also want to update y'all on my Archboldiana outer variegated, the one, like the 2 props that are in pon. I'm very happy to see, you know, leaf growth. I know it kind of looks like nothing, but look, there's leaves at the top of the trellis. And I mean on both sides, like new leaves on that one, a lot on this side. And I kind of, from growing this plant, I kind of prefer having this plant with more green. I know these ones down here actually have more cream and variegation, but I find, like, I had a vine on my mother that was too cream, that every time the leaf started to harden off and she was working on a new leaf, she just killed it. Seeing this, I think it's gonna have an okay amount of variegation on the edges, and I know it's very hard. But you could kind of see it. Do you see it? It's like, it kind of looks purple compared to the dark green there. So it might actually look closer to that, in my opinion. Archboldianas, they need a ton of light. This one is in the center of my shelf with 2 grow lights on each side. So it is truly getting a ton of light. So that is her. I feel like I'm just showing my Hoyas. I just haven't spent, sounds so sad, I just haven't spent enough time with my Hoyas because I know ultimately they'll be okay. I personally think that Hoyas are so easy to take care of that you could really ignore them if you have to, like if you get busy. Just knowing that a lot of my Hoyas are in LECA and pon, and knowing on average they're not going to dry out completely. The pon holds onto water. I'm giving it highlight in the form of a grow light. Like, knowing all those things, like, I can ignore them and they'll be just fine. And then they'll shock me with, like, for example, the Gunningatting and those buds. Like, that's very exciting. Okay, let's look at my silver lady. I mean, gorge. She is very full. I'm always so shocked that this is just one plant and she just started branching everywhere. But I kind of have a question, like, silver lady, how are they when it comes to blooming? Because for me, I get all these small peduncles there, and they're everywhere. There's one over here. Wow, that leaf looks gorgeous. It's not focusing there. But look at that leaf. So silver. This one has tried multiple times, so no success. There's a bigger one down here. That one over there has tried multiple times. And there's many more. But, like, is it because, and I'm thinking, this is just a theory I'm like making, fungus net. Is it because It just started out as one plant. It started branching everywhere. So that one root system needs to maintain all the foliage, and therefore, like, it doesn't have enough energy for the peduncles. I don't know. I have another one, don't I? Did I get rid of it? I have another one. Where is it? Okay, I'm gonna look for the other one later. Those are just my thoughts because she has tried so many times, and for like 6 months, really, in my experience, when you blast her with light, she turns this purple color. Look at that. So beautiful. Do you see how that's different from like all these other ones here? So she's here, super full. Hasn't bloomed for me yet, and roots are fine. Okay, I found her. I don't even remember if I showed this last week. I think I might have briefly showed it. Here are the props in pawn. They're like as full. So beautiful. So actually it's gonna be interesting because there is a few young peduncles. Do you see? Wow, it's not focusing. It's there though, I promise you, it's there. And there are some vines that are long enough that I can clip them. This Hoya grew on me. Again, never on my radar. Oh, I just broke a leaf. Oh, no, the sap. I'm like so traumatized by last video. If y'all remember, long ago, I bought this like pack from Hoya etc. of 9 Hoyas. It included this one, the Gunungadig, the Mathilde splash that didn't have that much splash. Again, I still think I got so lucky with that one. And obviously my determination to bring back, like cutting it back multiple times. And I think out of all of them, okay, it's funny, I wasn't really excited about the Mathilde splash because in my head I was like, there's not a lot of splash. I'm not that excited. It might just be a regular Mathilde with no splash, and so I don't know, I got lucky. Anyhow, I guess those two in the pack of 9, and I mean I was excited for all of them. I think I just like was the least excited for those two. How things have changed, and wow, it is so fast. The silver lady. There is some dead leaves at the bottom. They're the oldest leaves, so I just pulled it out. And then there's a second one down here. Okay. Okay, I don't need to do anything with this one. I just want to show you. I don't know if my memory's so bad these days. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I showed this last week, but I just wanted to show you the silver lady. I mean, I already showed you the silver lady. Silver dollar. This is such a pretty Hoya. This is such a pretty Hoya. I'm so happy I decided to put all these props in one planter. I'm so happy I experimented with this middle trellis. If y'all are new, like I bent myself this middle part because I kind of wanted a full cascading looking plant, and it's starting to do it. One thing that's so fascinating, it is a lot colder now, like a lot colder. Like I want to say like 10 degrees colder on average in my room throughout the day. The Hoyas, specifically the Hoyas, are still taking off more than ever. There's new leaves and it's just so shocking to, oh, I think this is new. I love when they're new because they look super shiny. Again, I don't need to do anything. I want to show this to y'all. Is it dry? It's dry, but look at the roots. I don't know what's stuck on the bottom. Look at these. Maybe that's why he started taking off. There's some Hoyas, when they grow into the reservoir, they start taking off. And it really depends. Clemenceorum's another one. And I mean, the Snow Queen also. And I think, oh my gosh. Do y'all remember the Botanical Expo in June of this year when I went? A lot of people were selling the silver dollar, and I was asking so many people. I remember I was asking Siam Plants, I was like, hey, you're selling a bunch of these, like, do they grow slow? And a lot of people said no. I do think they need to be rooted before they take off. I transferred these from perlite to pawn in the summer, so it has been like 3 to 4 months since that has happened, and now she looks super full. She cannot be stopped, and yeah, this is so exciting. Okay, I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. Okay, I love how I forgot about this one. Hoya CV Kaimuki. So, was it a week ago? Yeah, it was a week ago that I had my meltdown with this plant. I want to say more than ever, the leaves feel just super hydrated. More than before, which I think is a little strange. I do want to look at the roots, and I just don't know which one. Maybe I'll do this one that's like on the side here, and we're gonna look together. November 1st, yeah, a week and a little bit ago. Okay, see how deceiving? See how deceiving. And this was what I was saying in the beginning of the video. There's like the startings of new roots, but there isn't new root growth. But the leaf feels, and do you see how I'm trying to bend it? It feels so hydrated. It is unbelievable. Controversial opinion, and I've said this before, I will never tell someone when they're taking care of Hoyas to do the taco method. I think that's just, for me, there's more to, you know, caring for a Hoya that's like potentially dehydrated. There could be other things going on with it. I mean, I've said this before, but when you have thicker leaved Hoyas, they hold onto more water. So, I mean, clearly this doesn't have a root system at all, like look. But when it comes to the definition of the taco method, you should be able to bend this leaf. And that's another thing. I'm gonna go on a rant, I swear. That's another thing. All Hoyas are different. There are some Hoyas that are thinner leafed Hoyas that you can just bend from the beginning, even when they're hydrated. Look for more things, not just bending a leaf. Look at the wrinkliness of it. I find when I'm giving advice to people that aren't necessarily plant parents, I always tell them to check the roots first, because that's potentially the root of the problem. A lot of people don't want to do that. They always want an easy fix, and it just frustrates me that like the taco method is like what they will rely on. Ugh, it just makes me so, it just annoys me. Sorry. This is supposed to be a calm video. So like I said, it's been a little over a week. It's normal not to see roots at this point. And because I'm curious, I might pull another one out. This one, the leaf that I pulled out is kind of shielded from other leaves, so maybe it's not getting enough light. There are some, and we're gonna look together, there are some, like this one I know is getting a lot of light. The color has changed. I know this one's getting a lot of light because she's a bit more purple. So I'm curious, should I pull you out? It's already happening. Yes. Oh, there's two here, oops. Okay, so look, there's actually one baby. Oops, do you see that? That's a new root. So that's amazing. Do you see all the other parts? Like you'll see on the stem, there's a lot of these. Those are gonna be the beginnings of new roots. So seeing that also is a very good sign. Oh, there's a couple more down here. I just removed a couple pieces of pond, and look down there. So maybe that's another reason. I did stress that the Kaimuki, in my opinion, needs a lot of light, even when it has roots. So, I mean, you could just imagine like propagations, like kind of just confirms that you need to blast them, try to put it back, but who knows. I know I'm potentially breaking roots, but that's okay. Just as long as I stick it under a grow light again, it should be okay. And okay, that was a good check. Oh, this was falling out. Let's look at it since it was falling out. Yeah, no new roots on this one. And because it was falling out, you can see that it was dry up here. And I don't know if y'all said before, but it was facing this way. So this one wasn't really getting a lot of light. I'm trying to push it back in without like breaking the stem. Anyhow, still keeping the water level high. Perfect, it's at the top. Just putting it back right under the light. I love how as I put more plants back, I'm seeing more Hoyas that I need to look at. So Hoya Mathilde Splash. Just, oh my gosh. I cannot handle the beauty in this plant. I really can't. It is incredible. It is incredible. So again, I'm just doing my checks to see if there's any predominantly green vines. In that case, I would cut them off because this specific specimen I want to keep as silver as possible. Yeah, again, incredible how there's new leaves because, and a lot of new leaves because the temperature has dropped a lot. Yeah, so for Vlogmas, I'm planning to do a lot of propagation update videos and mainly Hoya. So kind of just making, you're all green. Where are you coming from? So yeah, that's a plan. But okay, I'm noticing, and I don't know if this was here before, but there is a green vine. I kind of want to show you this way. So there's a green vine. It is coming from this leaf here. I don't know what y'all can see. It's a totally green leaf. It's a new growth point from this green leaf. And then all the other leaves after that, it's just green. So I'm gonna cut it right there, just to promote a new growth point somewhere else. Hopefully it's at a node where there's a lot of splash. And yeah, just continuing. I'm just finding tendrils to kind of clamp down with clips. Maybe I'll cut this. I don't want to cut it down. I keep saying I'm gonna cut this down just to make more splashy props, but I really wanted this. This is what I wanted this whole time, with a splashy Mathilde. So I keep going back and forth, and so we'll see how that goes. But girls, this vine down here is like a mix of green and splash. I still know, I think I need to continue to watch it grow. It looks to me there's just splashy leaves on one side and then predominantly green on the other side. So another thing I do when I see an end that is reverting back to green, I let it trail, because I know somewhere where it is still supported, like the bend point here, potentially there's going to be a new growth point. And looking at where the bent is, let me just check. This is the vine, do you see? So it is really splashy down here. But the rest over here is turning more green. Like I was saying, I was training this part down because seeing that this node has splashy leaves, like more splashy than the other ones, and knowing Hoyas just prefer to grow up at all times, by having this go down, it'll promote a new growth somewhere. Actually, there is a new growth, but it's at the bottom node, which actually has more splash. So we'll see. We'll just see what happens with that. It looks like the indicator's broken, because look, she's at maximum and she's not even in it. Sometimes that happens with these indicators, like they get stuck. So that kind of scares me. The pond on the surface looks okay. It is dry, but like not super dry. Like there's condensation on the side of the pot. So it almost fell. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, it almost fell. Okay, let's do nutrient solution. Don't remember the last time I fed this. Okay, so I got some nutrient solution. I'm gonna add maybe like two parts water. So not a lot. It'd be different if it was summer, like I would feed it more. And yeah, that is, oh my gosh, that is her. I love her. I love her so bad. Okay, Crassipetiolata. I totally forgot about these. I kind of have them in a place where like I can't really see them. Look at all these babes. Lots of new leaf growth everywhere. Do you see all that? So now these tendrils, it looks like they're long enough that I can clip them to the trellis, same as this one. So these were the ones that were rooted in perlite, and then I took props, put the props in here. I talked about how I think it's hilarious that the props were actually faster at pushing out vines from all of them. But anyhow, I'm just gonna clip them. I think they need to be watered. Yeah, they do. That's just the residue from the pond. And there are some roots actually, look at that. So I'm just putting clips. And actually these two over here, I'm just gonna clip to the tendril that I just clipped, because they're not long enough yet. This will offer some support, even though it's not a ton. This one over here, how exciting. Wow. Again, I don't necessarily know, like I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll decide to sell Hoya props, and this will be like my mother, where I take propagations from, because y'all know that I have a full one that's in pond and I have a full one that's in LECA. Why did I do this? I have no idea, but she is so pretty. I think because like in my experience it's super easy, and once it's rooted it's super fast. I keep forgetting I released beneficial bugs, so I'm seeing some crawl. I'm like, what is that? Is that a spider mite? No, it's not. It's just the cucumbers. So again, knowing that these are the props and seeing those roots at the bottom, I'm not filling it all the way to the top anymore. I think I went through this already. So the indicator is filled up to the maximum. It's not filled up yet, I thought it was. Okay. Hoya for Bessier. She looks, I mean, she's grown so much. She's grown so much. I'm very happy with it. The thing that has been happening though, I think because she's growing really quickly, there's a few plants in here. The root system has taken over where I have to fill up this reservoir of this small planter like every 2 days. And so I've dried her out too much. Oh, like, come on. It is super thirsty when it matures, so I'm thinking of transferring it into one of those big round pots again, keeping the trellises as they are, and just going from there. So this is the planter I'm talking about. Also because she's getting top heavy, just to have a bigger base. This is a Hoya that got pretty early on. Now I'm thinking, should I have waited? Anyhow, I got it really early on and, you know, there was some neglect. Ultimately, like, I wanted this one to bloom. I still haven't looked at the blooms of this one, just because I want to be surprised. It's the same as a Crassipetiolata. I was like, I don't know what those look like. I'm just trying to pull it gently. Of course that would happen. Beautiful root system. Okay. So now I think I have to remove the pon just so I can put the trellises into the holes at the bottom of the planter just for more stability at the pon. Cute. But do you see how, like, I mean, that's the reason why this plant was so thirsty. Y'all can't see it, but I mean, the same method I do with all my Hoyas that have trellises. I'm just putting it in the holes here and then putting pon around it for stability. In time, roots will grow. I'm just adding pon into the planter. Ooh, it's like your brand new person. Okay, now I'm gonna train the tendrils onto the trellis. I also find, like, surprisingly, these pots, like how much water you can put in it is actually a lot, so this is going to be really good for it. Okay, I like that. This Hoya is one where if you put it under highlight, it does yellow a lot. And so it's still under grow light, but not right under. Like, the grow light is kind of going across this way. So a lot of the lower leaves here are getting blasted in a sense, but not like the ones up here. She looks good. She looks good, nice and green, and yeah. Okay guys, I guess that's it. I hope y'all enjoy this video and I will see you in the next one.